Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto. Welcome to This Week in Crypto. All right, March 18th. So Bitcoin confirmed its downtrend today. So after breaking down from that potential cup with handle pattern, we proceeded to break down through the 50-day moving average. We moved back within the declining trend line, and actually, as you can see here, currently this is the GDAX chart. We're actually back above that declining trend line, but on many other exchanges, we are back underneath that trend line. Volume accelerated to the downside after the low volume rise. That is the more important volume. That is the more important portion of the story here. We are still mirroring the pattern from 2013, as I'm sure you've seen on some of my other videos. And something to note that is of bullish nature is that we are above the 200-day moving average, which is the purple line there. All right. Now, Ethereum this week broke its sideways channel-like consolidation that it's been in for a couple of weeks now, actually. This is the daily chart. Volume accelerated to the downside, which is not a good action. However, we did have a nice bottoming candle there in Ethereum, which is pretty interesting, and putting in a little sideways action. But we are following that downward trend line lower. At least we did this week. Going forward, we'll have to see. There's nothing in this. You have conflicting signals. That bottom candle there implies we either pause or go up, but this is technically a bear flag, which would imply we go lower. Litecoin, one of the best looking coins out there from a technical perspective. Litecoin is not actually breaking down like everything else is. It has a large bottoming candle, kind of like similar to what Ethereum had in the previous slide. The volume recently is pretty good. There's no major breaks. All the volume has kind of been in line with the rest of recent history, and could we potentially break a trend with Bitcoin where Litecoin actually gets higher, or at least doesn't sell off as egregiously as Bitcoin. Only time will tell. Now Ripple looks weak here, but it doesn't look broken. It did break lower with Bitcoin, but that news article earlier this week regarding the Coinbase news, the pump, and then the subsequent dump on those rumors being negated kind of really messed up Ripple's chart, but it did break below that channel, similar to what Ethereum did, and has a similar pattern, although the volume on that down candle there is not nearly as high as it is on some of the other charts. So Ripple looks weak, but it's not broken. It's not broken. And Bitcoin Cash had a tight channel as well. Did try to break out of it there, as you can see, but it did come back into the channel really nicely, actually. And then it subsequently broke down again. Overall, it still looks weak, kind of like Bitcoin. Did have that big bottoming candle there, however. We'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Now, onto altcoins of note this week. The first one is NEM. This is the one that's acting the best overall in this market, really bucking the trend with Bitcoin. This is the NEM Bitcoin chart on the daily. As you can see there, on Thursday we broke up on higher volume, and since then we've actually been putting in a sideways flag pattern, which is actually bullish, one of the very few bullish patterns in the overall cryptocurrency market. Your technical buy point would be around the 4,000 Satoshi level. However, it is still underneath a longer term declining trend line, and both that 50 and 200 period moving averages you see there in purple and blue. Now, NEO is one to note as well, continuing its breakdown from its large rectangle high pattern, broke the 50-day period moving average, and the leg lower, if you take a measured move, actually could go to the 0065 level against Bitcoin there. And one newer issue to note is Zilliqa. ZIL. Let's just call it ZIL, okay? Let's just call it ZIL. Recently added to Binance. This is the Binance chart. This is actually the 2-hour chart. The Binance chart, I think, is like 9 or 10 days long, so it didn't look like much. The price action's okay. It's not the worst, but it did act very good comparative to the rest of the market. And this is a platform coin. So if you remember my altcoins 2018-2019 video, the platform coins are coins you really need to pay attention to. And this one isn't off to a bad start. Doesn't mean we don't go lower, but keep this on your radar going forward. So let's take a look at the market cap and news this week. So this is the weekly chart for the past 7 days for CoinMarketCap. We started out at 467 billion, went down by 17% to $389 billion. And the last time we were at $389 billion was December 6th of 2017. So a couple of news articles this week. The big ones is the Mt. Gox Trustee sells some Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. He sold off $400 million between December and February, partially helping us along the way down to our ultimate lows of 6,000. He has $1.5 billion left, however, in his trustee funds. Although he isn't obligated to sell that Bitcoin, he's waiting on a bankruptcy court ruling in Japan to tell him if he has to sell more. And I'm pretty sure we're going to hear because if he has to sell more, that's going to be really bad for the crypto market. I think it'll sell off just based off of that news alone. So what's my take? Generally, it's a non-issue. Most of this stuff had already been sold. As you can see, we're in March. We're not in December through February. We're in March. So it's really non-issue. We saw this selling in the charts, as you typically would do with any news article. And it's good to know we could have more downside pressure, especially if we get especially if the bankruptcy court says that we do have to, or he does have to sell more Bitcoin. Then we at least know what to expect going forward. And that really explains why Bitcoin kept dropping while I was sleeping. Really explains that, and I'm really happy to know that. And the next article to consider was the Binance hack. Maybe? Was it a hack? What was it exactly? Well, Binance is being a little tight-lipped about it, but what we do know is that trading bots with API keys were the accounts that were actually affected. They said that all the accounts were whole after all the trades were reversed, and actually the hackers took it on the chin in that particular transaction. Now, one coin that had some interesting action was Viacoin. Apparently, from a rumor that I saw, I didn't see this in a news article, someone in my chat room mentioned this, that apparently the Binance hack happened and it was basically a bot run amok. The bot was apparently trading through this pump and dump group, and they all bought VIA, which caused a massive pump in VIA. So what's my take on this? Well, the take is you really have to be careful when given access to trade on your behalf. I do use Coinigy as my preferred charting platform for cryptos, but I don't trade through Coinigy. Not that I don't trust Coinigy, but I think trading through any platform is inherently risky. You're also noticing that exchanges are still vulnerable to unforeseen threats. But overall, I do like Binance. Let me put that out there. Binance is a pretty good platform. I do like them, and that's that. So in closing, what's the real takeaway this week? So this week cleared up the general direction of the market with Bitcoin selling off. That really tells you, and it's not just that one sell-off, ladies and gentlemen. It's the continuation of the overall 2013 pattern that we've been talking about for a while. That pretty much cleared up the general direction of the market. We are going to continue lower. Altcoins may continue to sell off with Bitcoin. If they do, you can expect a lot more pain in altcoins. And Litecoin is trying to be the exception to that rule. Let's see if that can continue. So my real perspective this week, I am anticipating a Bitcoin consolidation. That could mean a couple of run for a few altcoins, like we saw with NEM in the charts a little bit earlier. That consolidation could take the form of sideways action or some upward action for the next several days. I would anticipate that we will continue lower, though. Obviously it's hard to say exactly when that will be, but I think in a month we will be lower, and I think further out, a month from now, we will see more selling in the more near-term future. We'll see a bottom in a few months around the 3,500 to 2,400 level. Now, real comments this week in some of my videos. I thought this would be kind of fun. I get some interesting comments. Some are fun, some are not very fun, and some are weird. So here's a couple that I liked. Feel free to read these. I won't read them out loud. You can go back and pause the video. Benna out there put a pretty nice poignant comment. He says, I'm wrong 50% of the time. And I think I'm wrong less than 50% of the time, but I definitely could understand that people can't view all of my videos, or, it's hard to convey what I think exactly in a video, okay? I tend to be more active in the markets than most people, and so therefore my perspective does shift back and forth quite often. And I understand if you can't watch all of my videos or put all the thought behind them that I do. So it does make sense that people can perceive that I'm wrong over 50% of the time. I definitely can get that. And I do want to give a shout out for Tim Murtaugh for watching The Psychology Behind Bitcoin. If you haven't seen that video, ladies and gentlemen, please go watch that video. It is a good video on psychology, and I think it's a very poignant video. And then one from Archangel, finally a video with you with no dislikes in the first 2 hours at least. I thought that was pretty weird too. So finishing, ladies and gentlemen, with my real trading tips. These will be on here. In my past couple of videos, I've had a lot of people say that they've been hurt off of my videos, and I'm not happy with that. I'm not out here to harm anyone. I'm actually more out here to help people. And sometimes when you're trying to put content out because people are asking for it, sometimes you can't get your full message out there. But in the end, you guys have to understand what trading is. Okay, never buy off of my views alone. Understand why you are in a trade. You have to have a hard stop loss in place to protect your account at all times. And if you're struggling with trading, consider a longer term strategy. That's something that one of my valued subscribers actually said. And I say valued subscribers because he actually posts very, very good comments. Never let a positive trade turn into a loss. And if you don't have a plan for your trade, say goodbye to your money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today. I'll see you guys in the next weekly review.